Hi, Dan.
Hello, Danielle.
So, I love that shirt you're wearing. It looks vaguely familiar.
Thank you. You like it? Did you just see it like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah. So, guys, here is a little behind the scenes snippet. We are recording this episode right after we recorded the last episode that you guys had a chance to listen to. So this is episode
And see us.
66.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So, surprise.
Yeah. So the obviously the podcast people don't know. We just always sound amazing, but you would never know that we sometimes record more than one episode in a day.
Yep. Because
And
we
we-
find that we're like on a roll and we've
Yeah.
got, good stuff ready to keep going. And
I mean,
got the time
Danielle's
to do it.
got her words. She's got her words today, so
All the words.
figure we might as well just keep going. And I didn't talk at all the first episode, so I got to get some out. I got to get some words in.
Yeah. So, shall we record a podcast? Some words. I'm going to take over this podcast too, just a second.
This is going to be a silly, fun episode. But yeah, let's record a podcast, shall we?
All right, let's dive in. Wait. I have hair in my mouth. This sweater is amazing, but it's furry. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's fine. Anyway.
Okay. All right, here we are, episode 66.
Guys, we're talking about... Oh, is this a triggering episode for some of us today? I don't know.
Tech triggered. No.
Yeah.
All right. Wait. First thing we got to say is that so this episode is titled "Things Your Guests Won't Care About," but
10 things your guest won't care about.
10 things your guests won't care about. But that's to say that's not to be confused with if you care about them, go for it. We're just saying that these are things that your guests. It is what it is. They're just probably gonna. They're gonna look right past it or not really care that much about. So
Exactly.
you
Things
like
that are
it,
low
you
on
wanna
their
do it.
importance scale.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
all right.
Oh, I don't think we could say that enough, but yeah, I 100% agree. So, you ready to jump into this one? I'm excited.
We're just going. We're just doing it. We're just hopping
Yeah.
right in.
So,
Okay.
number one, Dan. The number one. Oh, wait. Oh, also, this is in no particular order. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
first.
Go. Flowers in the centerpiece. Don't care about it. Guffaw.
So, guys, your guests don't care what kinds of flowers are in your centerpiece. It doesn't matter if they're peonies or carnations or roses or baby's breath or whatever, right? But Dan,
Yeah.
what do they care about?
What they do care about is being able to see past the giant structure monstrosity in the middle of the table to the people on the other side of the table. Which, if you're a Patreon listener and you can see us right now, I was just pretending to look around the imaginary centerpiece that's in the middle of the screen so I can talk to Danielle. For those of us who are watching on video. And it's really Danielle's just what are you doing? Stop it.
No, I thought you were trying to rock out a toot. So what you're
No.
doing is way better.
No, it's pretending to look around the centerpiece. Anyway,
Cool.
yeah, don't
Anyway.
care about that.
Yeah, guys, it's what it comes down to. And that goes with so much of the other decor that you have and the things like that. But don't stress about what kind of flowers are going to be in your centerpiece or in the bouquets or in the boutonnieres. Are they going to be ranunculus or anemones? Or I'm looking at a centerpiece that's sitting right in front of me and I'm just pulling things out of that. But it's just what it comes down to. So they do care about how that centerpiece functions with regard to their overall experience for the wedding itself, but they do not care what the flowers specifically are. Oh, pro tip, they will care if there are a crap load of baby's breath, because guess what happens when you put a whole lot of baby's breath together in one room? It will
What?
smell like a horse barn.
Oh.
Baby's breath does not smell cute, and when you have a lot, like I'm talking an entire centerpiece of baby's breath, it will smell.
Oh, interesting. Didn't know that.
Pro tip. So,
Yeah.
okay, number two.
Oh,
Guys,
we talked about this one a whole bunch.
Have we? Let's talk about it some more. The garter and bouquet toss. So, you know that
Gone.
thing? You know that thing when, the chair comes out and, traditionally the bride sits down and the groom takes off her garter from underneath her dress and it's this, sexy, swanky, now, in front of your grandma. Guys, it's okay if you don't do that activity at your wedding, right?
Yep. Yes.
And
100%.
And there's ways you can do it if you still are like, oh, but I really want to like toss my bouquet. There's ways you can do it that it isn't really awkward for everyone in the room.
Can we still? We have been saying this over and over again. Somebody has got to take their bouquet, wrap $100 bill around it, get everybody, or maybe just all the single people. No, not even all the single people. Just get everybody out there and just chuck that thing in the middle of the dance floor with $100 bill wrapped around it and watch what happens.
Right. And so what Dan just said there, like, the tradition lies in like, oh, all the single guys come out and then all the single ladies come out. And we're hearing that Beyonce song now, right? In our head, all the single ladies. But chances are high. Well, I don't even know high, but chances are that many of your guests are already married, guys. So suddenly, like, think about your guest list. If everybody's married, who are you going to have come out on the dance floor? And if 2 or 3 people come out on the dance floor, wow. Energy killer, right? Buzzkill.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Everybody does not want to be the like 1 or 2 people that's out there. But I will say, like, I've seen it a couple times where it's like there's a good group of people on both sides. Maybe there's like 8 to 10, 12, 15, like single people, younger wedding, whatever. And people own it, right? It's silly. It's fun. They have fun with it. But it's only if it's a younger crowd and there's like a good amount of people who are going to be out there. If it's like the 3 or 4 people, everybody just feels awkward. The vibe changes. Yeah.
And like what happens when like the 15-year-old girl catches the bouquet and the like really drunk 20-something groomsman catches the garter and then he has to put the garter on the teenager under ages. Nope, it's bad. It's just not a good idea. Now, I have seen it, like, I've seen it done, where it's just fun and silly, and it's just known that everybody's going to get out there. But more often than not, I say it's kind of awkward. And guys, guests, they just want to dance,
Yep.
Like they've seen it, find a new way to do it or find a new something to get that, bouquet toss in there.
Yeah, and if you're using the garter bouquet toss as like a break in dancing for people to go drink or whatever, stop it. Put a slow dance in there. Don't like if you're just looking for like a break, right? If you're just looking for a break in dancing or to break up the night or whatever, put a slow dance in there. Because I'll tell you from a photographer's perspective, I love slow dances because it means all the sweet, older people, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmas, whatever, they come out on the dance floor, and that is the perfect time for me to get a picture of them loving on each other that they probably haven't gotten a picture of, them together recently or in a long time, and it's just a great opportunity for me to get pictures of people who are not necessarily always going to be on the dance floor. Love slow dances. Do them.
100% agreed.
Hundo percento.
Hundo percent. Oh, I like that. Totes my goats. Okay, that was 1. That was 2. On to number 3.
Trace.
And this is one I am a huge advocate against.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I'm making a statement here, meaning I don't think they are necessary by any stretch whatsoever, and that is personalized napkins, matches, and favors. So particularly on the napkin front, napkins, first of all, just about any caterer venue will automatically include cocktail napkins for you. It's not an expense you need to think about or incur unless you're really DIYing absolutely everything. So that's number 1. Number 2, by nature, these cocktail napkins, like I'm talking about, the little like squares.
That have like their hashtag or their name and the wedding date stamped on them, right? Yeah.
They are instant garbage. Ooh. Right? They are something where guests are literally using them, wiping their face, crumpling them up, and then throwing it away. That is your money, right? And I just feel like you can take the money that you might be considering investing into these napkins or whatever and just put it someplace else where you're going to just make a bigger impact on the overall experience and just make it go a lot further. Matches, I don't get matches. I don't understand it. I think it's an older generation thing. Anytime I see matches being personalized and out at a wedding, it always comes from a mom or dad who are like, look, we got matches. It's like, great. Nobody smokes at this wedding.
Look, we got matches. Great.
Right? Do you get it?
Yeah.
What? I don't understand.
I think they're like used to be a thing because I feel like my dad used to collect matchbooks or something, and maybe that's where it's left over from. But I don't know. I'm not on the pulse with that, in touch with that.
I don't get it, but don't feel like you have to do it, right? If you see it somewhere, don't feel like you have to do it. And the same goes with like personalized favors. I am totally fine if you skip favors and opt for a cool guest experience or a to-go food or maybe like a photo booth or a something just to give them a little extra, right? Something that doesn't have your name, date, and faces etched into the thing forever, because what are they going to do with it?
Right.
Right? Do you have like, I don't know if you collect like the tchotchkes and things from weddings you've gone to, but it's a lot. I will throw it away as a guest.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I like food. I like food as favors, but or skip favors altogether. You could do donations, whatever it is. But the personalized favor thing is more about you than it is about them. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And guests don't care about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking down the list and like thinking about all the other stuff that we have coming, and I'm just really excited to just blurt some things out.
Okay. So you take number 4?
No, I want to take number 5. You take number 4.
Okay, I'll take number 4, and I think I know why. Okay, so number 4, things your guests won't care about: open or casual seating. I talk with couples a lot as they're going through the planning process, and they're just like, we just want it to be this like great casual event. Where people like it's not assigned seating and, you know, people can just sit where they want or stand where they want and eat. But guys, unless your guest list is super small, and I'm saying like 20 people or less, or 99% millennials, open seating can be a nightmare for most of your guests. Older generations, just they don't know what to do when you say you could just sit anywhere, right? There's this like panic that they have. And now they're starting to like round up their group of people being like, go reserve that table and go reserve this. And it suddenly becomes this like mad dash panic once they find out, right? And all of your aunts, all your aunties, and all of your cousins are going to start like placing their bags everywhere and reserving all these things. And it's a chaotic situation that most of your guests don't like. Now, again, I go back to the fact that if your guest list are like a bunch of your friends and super chill, and this is how you do all of your parties, and this is what they expect, then that makes sense. But I've yet to see it work out well that someone isn't freaking out about the fact that there's no reserved seats but I need a seat for this. I need to make sure I have like, can you please reserve 3 tables for me for this thing? And I'm going, there's nothing to reserve a table with. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. I think maybe because I get the blunt of it too. Like everybody comes to me as if I've made this grand decision when it's always the couple and I'm always pushing against it. But anyway, something I'm passionate about. Can you tell? Yeah. Dan, on to number 5.
Number 5. So number 5, I'm going to define this one a little bit. And that is a guest book where people are just signing their names. I don't get that one. So I'm going to define a couple things. So there's a few things that I see. One is the guest book where people are literally just walking up, signing their name. Like number 1, this person. Number 2, this person. Then there's the guest book, which you might see that's like, maybe it's designed with like some of your engagement pictures in it or something. And people, you have some Sharpies there and people are like writing little messages and that kind of stuff. And then there's something that's even a different look, and it's maybe one photograph with like this huge mat around it, right? And people are writing notes and that kind of stuff. I would say that the guests don't care about any of those things, but you might like them in the future. So it depends. If you want to hang up the picture on your wall, that's your choice, right? Like your guests are not going to care if it's there or if it's not. They're not looking forward unless it's like out in the open or they like are walking right past it. You'll get a lot of traffic and people will sign it, but nobody's seeking that out. Now, I will say if it's important to you, make it out in the open and front and center, because, you know, one of the gifts that, you know, that I like about ours, and we just have a 10 by 10 really cool one that we put out and has some of our engagement pictures in it and lots of white space for people to write. And it was really sweet. We got it after the wedding, flipped through it really quick, and then literally pulled it out 4 years later, which was like maybe a couple weeks ago. And my grandmother signed it. And I feel like I never saw it before. My grandmother's not with us anymore. And it's like that was like a little like sweet treat to be able to see that I loved, right? So like I said, 2 perspectives there, a couple different options, but your guests are not going to care about it. If it's important to you, make sure it's out and it's front and center,
Right.
because you care about it and you want people to interact with it.
But I agree, though, if you pulled that out and it was just like a bunch, like, would you have even pulled it out if it was just a bunch of people's names written? Like, you were pulling it out to sort of see the messages and the notes they wrote for you, right?
It's like she wrote, "Love you, Graham," and it's like, oh, Graham, love it.
Exactly. Awesome. That's what it comes down to. Hey, also too, if you've got one that's like a little bit more unique, I think it's also a good idea if you assign somebody, like, especially if they're younger. I don't know. Anyway, you've probably got somebody on your list that you can think of to say, as the night is sort of winding down, have that somebody go around to like the people that are sitting still at the tables and be like, hey, did you sign the guest book? Like, maybe bring it to them so that they can really partake in it. I love to, when I'm on weddings and I see the guest book hasn't really been done too much with it, I will always start bringing it around and being like, hey, do you want to sign this? They have this really cute thing. All you do is this. Here's the pen. And I just like stand back, let them do their thing, and then get it to the next table. So fun stuff. Okay.
That's really sweet. Cool.
On to our next thing. How about I take this one? Okay.
You could take this one.
Guests will not care about your wedding party introductions.
Nope.
Dun, dun, dun. This might be controversial. Hear me out. Your guests are coming to see you and your partner and to celebrate with you and your partner. The people you've chosen to have in your wedding party are people that are really special to you, but probably your guests don't care about all that much, right? So when you're like thinking about how you want the night to flow and go about all this, and you're like, oh, well, we have to introduce our parents and our wedding party and then us, I challenge you to say, wait, do we need to introduce our wedding party? And maybe you do introduce them, but you go, and, your DJ or MC.
Now it's like, the wedding party.
And here's the wedding party. All of, Sarah and Jacob's favorite people. Let's give them a hand. Nobody cares about their names. Nobody, I don't think, unless they are a very well-prepared wedding party, every time that I see the wedding party coming up with the, like, last-minute things of like, okay, and then I'll twirl you and I'll pretend like I faint, and then we'll like do a back-to-back Charlie's Angels. Like, guys, we've seen it. It's just been done before. You know what? Take that 10 minutes of time that it's going to take to introduce everybody, put it someplace else.
Yep. Yeah, a good rule is go parents, introduce both sets of parents, and then you guys, right? And if you do the wedding party, like, it's sweet to say like, here's the wedding party. I love that. But I've definitely been seeing exactly what you said, where they're just like, and now the wedding party, woo! And everybody claps, and the wedding party comes in, and they all dance together and be silly or whatever, and then they form a line and blah blah blah, and then the couple runs underneath them. But nobody's gonna care if they don't see any crazy things happening. People
also
spinning.
Who's listening at that point, right? Like the DJ or the MC is just rambling off names off a sheet. Like, I don't know, like you're just clapping unless you know the person, and then you're like, whoop, 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 go Dan, whatever it is, it is what it is. So they're there for you as the couple, though. Know that. Okay. Next one. Number 7.
Gone. Wedding cake. See you later. Nobody. Yeah, I know. Like, wedding. I see
How
this all the
dare
time.
you, Daniel?
I see this. I know. I'm sorry. I see this all the time on Pinterest and whatever. Check out this magnificent 15-tier wedding cake, and then I'm just like, that is all going to get thrown away. Like, the amount of wedding cake that I see at like sitting on a table at the end of the night when I'm one of the last people to leave. Everybody else is gone. They've gotten on the trolley, and it's literally the entire wedding cake just sitting there. Don't do it. Like, if you really love cake, buy a sheet cake, put it in the back, and then get like a sweet little, like, I don't know, 2-tier something just for you to cut the bottom one, put the other one in the freezer for the following year for a little bit of that simple, fun tradition. Keep it small, and then have everybody get sheet cake. Or better yet, don't do any cake whatsoever. Do a little cake to cut, and then have a bunch of petit fours. Is that the right word now? Did I use it right now?
Yep. Good job. Yep.
Yeah.
Petit fours.
Thank you. A whole bunch of petit fours and desserts. Oh, get a little tiramisu action out there. Maybe like a little, that would be so delicious. Something.
We're way too close to lunch to be talking about food.
I know. little pies or little trinkets or a candy bar or whatever. Nobody eats the cake.
Right.
Nobody.
And like, when the cake comes out, right, and your guest serves cake, they go, oh, cake. I'm at a wedding. Makes sense, right? But imagine like Dan said, like something different, something cool. That's why cupcakes made they had a big moment, right? A few years ago because it was just cool and different. Guys, it's the same thing as freaking cake. It's just in a different form and people went nuts over it.
Give me the cupcakes!
They lost their minds over cupcakes, right? But hey, if you like cake, we're not knocking you. We just don't feel like you have to have cake if you really don't like cake, guys. It's okay. It's still a wedding.
I've got a mini contest that I'm going to do with you right now. So we're going to go back and forth and name some of the desserts that we've seen. So I'm going to start. Ready?
Wait.
Donuts.
Wait.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Are we getting like specific? Okay, no. I'm ready. I'm
ready.
We're
just going to go back and forth. Okay.
I'm sweating.
I know. This is spontaneous, and Danielle's freaking out right now. Ready? Here we go. Ready, set, go. Donuts.
Ice cream bar.
Pies. Mini pies.
Yeah, lemon squares.
Petit fours.
That's cheating. Petit fours are like the general idea. It's like saying appetizers.
Okay, fine. Keep going.
Okay, truffles, like little truffle bites.
Banana Foster bar.
Ooh, oh yeah. Churros, like being fried.
A churro station? That's pretty epic. I've also seen a breakfast bar with pancakes and berries that you get to put on top of it.
Yes. Oh, just fruit. That's just who doesn't like fruit? What?
That's
I really like fruit, so that's why I get excited.
I feel like
don't knock my dessert.
You're reaching a little bit now. Grandma's homemade cookie baked goods table.
Just cookies, right? How many times have we just seen table upon table of cookies?
Ah, delicious.
Now that we've got everybody hungry.
Yeah. Good job, us.
Wait, I feel like there's what are some new trends that we can make sure we include here? Donuts are starting to they've had their moment. They sort of had their cupcake
I've seen
moment.
macaroon trucks. That's a big one that I saw that twice the last 2 years maybe.
I like an ice cream truck too. When an ice cream truck comes with just a bunch of different flavors and toppings and so much fun.
I've seen things that are like they're almost skipping dessert completely, and they'll I guess they sort of are, but they'll bring out it's like a mini martini glass with a small scoop of ice cream and a strip of waffle, right? And they'll bring that out, or a small a itty bitty milkshake with a little tiny thing of fries next to it, right? Just these little
milkshake and fries is such a good combination.
Oh, it's so good. But the best part is that it's this, it's this 1 inch wide glass by maybe 3 inches tall. And there's 3 fries in there, but the ketchup is already in the bottom. Oh, delicious.
Well, so yeah, wedding cake.
I would have loved to have sit in that meeting guys, all right, what's the next thing we're going to do? Okay, what if we do milkshakes? Maybe we just put the milkshakes in there or something like that. But what if we add a little bit of crunch to it? If we add a little bit of crunch to it, maybe that'll be a little bit good. What if we just put fries next to the milkshake? And then some guy was like, what if we take ketchup and put it in the bottom so people don't have to dunk? Boom! Larry, that's what you're here for. Larry with the save. Anyway.
Oh, Larry. All right. Number 8. Guests don't care about what you are wearing. Now.
Oh.
I said it.
Wait.
I said it, Dan.
What?
And if they do, that's their business, right? But I say you should wear what makes you feel good, right? If you are wearing something, if you think that everybody or your mom expects you to wear a ball gown, but you are a person who doesn't wear dresses even in your everyday life, why in the world would you take this very special day and choose to then wear a ball gown? Now, if you try on that ball gown and you go, I look mighty fine and I love how I look and feel, right? Go for it. But if you're this doesn't feel right? Guess what? It's okay. And if your guests do care about what it is that you're wearing, they don't get to come to your next party. That's how I feel, right? And it goes to your wedding party too, right? Let your wedding party wear what makes them feel good and matches, the vibe of the event. But bridesmaid dresses don't need to match the dinner napkins, and they don't need to all be the same styles. Chances are high that whoever you've got in your wedding party probably come in many shapes and sizes, and we love them all the same, right? But when have you ever had one outfit look good on 6 of your best friends, right? It just probably doesn't happen. So it's okay. It's okay to break the rules. It's okay to let people choose what they want to wear or give them a broader range of what it is they can pick from. But yeah, guests don't care if all your bridesmaids are perfectly matchy, 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 matchy.
Yeah, speaking of matchy matchy, I still remember this wedding. It was October 13th, 2012, Jess and Tony, and the bridesmaids all had different color weddings. So it was an October wedding, right? So everything, she basically gave them the instruction to like go find a dress with like this sort of finish. I don't know what you'd call that, like this sort of fabric, right? So they're all like a I don't know, maybe it would be satin or like sort of shimmery, shiny, but it was all like pick a fall color. And that's all she said. And I know she had like a little bit of say in it, but she just said, find a dress that makes you look good, makes you feel good. If you want, send me a picture. And it came together beautifully. There was like a mustard looking color. There was like a green. There was a red. There was, it's like all these different like very fall colors. And it looked amazing.
And that's great, right? Because you say mustard and I immediately cringe because I know what I look like in mustard and it ain't cute, right? But everybody has different skin tones and different colors that they really feel like they look great in.
Yep.
And I just stand by the fact that guests aren't going to care what you're wearing or what your wedding party's wearing.
Yeah, this is my favorite one because I'm a formality slasher. So number 9 is 1,000 back-to-back formalities. So we're going to do the introductions.
Yeah.
So all right. So the formalities are typically what people would say are like the introductions, the first dance, the parent dances, a blessing, the toast, cake cutting, shoe quiz, which is super silly. I've seen that one recently. A thank you speech before the dinner. The garter bouquet toss, the blah, 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 all the stuff, right?
Yeah. All the stuff.
All the stuff. And I would say that you should only do what feels right to you. And that I would say that like I love a good first dance. I love parent dances, but that's just me, right? Like I love to photograph that because those are emotional, but some people, those things are not that important. So they don't do them. Right.
Right. And what we're saying is like, you can still do these things. You can still do all these things, but do not pack them back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I've had couples say, well, we just want to get it all in before dinner. It's not a great experience. At some point, your guests are going to tune out, right? They're just going to stop caring because they either want to eat dinner or they just had enough of that thing. You got to sprinkle it in, give them something else, sprinkle some more in, give them something else. It's a balancing act, right? And this is where, if you've got a planner on your team or you're talking with your venue or your DJ or your band or whatever it is, they'll help you build that. But this mentality of we just want to pack everything in and get it over with, don't do it then.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta. My headphones just died, so I gotta get my other headphones. Hold on.
Okay. Guys watching on video, this is what I have to deal with. Oy, oy, oy. See, so I hope everybody on video is enjoying this so far. We've got one more to go.
Here it come. We're almost done.
Okay.
We're almost done.
Okay.
Sorry, Fred. I just woke Fred up from his nap.
Fred is Dan's cat.
Yeah, he's sitting right next to me. Okay, sorry, I'm back. My headphones died right in the middle of that. So back-to-back formalities. One of the things all right, our priority when Rachel and I got married was the most free time for people, right? So that's how we decided what formalities we were going to do. Most free time for dancing or people catching up or sitting out on the deck and looking at the golf view thing, whatever. So we said, hey, all right, we're going to have introductions. We're going to have our first dance, and then we're going to have toast. Boom. Get everybody to sit down and then have dinner and just feed people, right? Like, high energy thing with introductions, kind of a sweet first dance that I feel like kept people's attention. And then some like pretty natural, normal toast, nothing super crazy. One from, my best man, one from Rachel's sister, and then one from me. Done. Now everybody sits down and eats. And then at the end of dinner, a signifier that dinner was done because people are starting to, get a little antsy and whatever. So I think we had like a soft cake cutting, not like a huge deal. I don't think anybody got up for it. And then immediately after that, we had Rachel's dance with her dad and then my dance with my mom. And I told Wes, our DJ, I was like, the moment that my song ends with my mama, turn the music up. And that was basically the last formality that we had all night, except for some slow dances and just partying. That was it. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but it's like that's what matched the priority we had for our reception, and that priority was to just get people up and moving, and having fun.
Right. And if you think about the formalities that you're doing, I would argue that you're probably doing those formalities more for you and the people directly involved than maybe for your guests. And that's okay, right? You have every right to a first dance. You have every right to a dance with your parent. But your guests, unless they're really close to you or like really close to that other person, they're only going to
have to pay attention.
Yeah, you're only going to keep their attention for so long. So if you do like a minute or two for your first dance and then sit down and do something else, they're going to watch. But if you do, like I said, the back to back to back stuff, at a certain point, they're just going to start talking and it kills the whole vibe of whatever it is. And it's a bummer.
Yeah. So my job is to look at people, right? Like my job is to capture, reactions and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I will look for is like when the energy shifts in the wedding, right? Especially in those introductions, whatever. You generally have people's attention through introductions. You generally have them pretty much through the first dance. I feel like if you do parent dances immediately after that, all the attention is gone right away. It's like I'm trying to look for people who are like really into the moment, and I can almost always get that for the first dance. Like people just watching and like, maybe they're thinking back to their own wedding or whatever, but like I always get that for the first dance. As soon as those parent dances happen, if they're right after, almost always like maybe like it drops off by like 50%, maybe more. If you do them towards the end of the dinner and you've kind of had this break, people are like, kind of getting ready for the next part of the wedding, you've got their attention again because they've been fed, they've had something to drink, they've gotten out all the conversation that they possibly could with the people at their table. Now it's time to get ready to do things, and their attention shifts back to the wedding. So like these like little chunks are like breaking them up is much better. Like Danielle was saying, love that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, last one. And then we've got some things we do think you should do that your guests will care about. And one that I found in just about every article that I wholeheartedly, and I know Dan wholeheartedly disagrees with. So number 10, last but not least, your guests won't care about meeting everyone and their brother in the receiving line. So your receiving line is typically that line that forms maybe at your church or maybe at just after your ceremony or just as guests are heading into cocktail hour, where you have the couple standing there and sometimes their parents and sometimes your wedding party and all these people that guests as they arrive or depart have to go through and say, congratulations, nice to meet you, thank you for, all of the things. If you want to do a receiving line, make it just you and your partner. Maybe include your parents if they are involved in hosting the event and know that they want to be there. But please don't include everybody and their brother in this receiving line.
Yep.
You have a limited amount of time on your wedding day. Yep. And doing a receiving line is one way to thank everybody and have that like one-to-one contact. But it's a little rushed and it's a little forced and it's maybe not the most authentic or intimate, but it is one way to do it. However, let's just use an example where you're having a church ceremony and it's like an hour-long ceremony and then everybody is going to make their way out and you're going to do a receiving line out the door and then do some photos. If you have 150-ish or more guests, that receiving line, I promise you, leaving the church will eat up about 20 to 30 or more minutes of your day.
Yep.
Easily. It will not feel that way. You won't expect it. You'll be like, I've been to weddings before and it didn't take that long. Yes, it did. I promise you it did. You just weren't standing there the entire time. You were either at the beginning or whatever. You probably weren't at the end because it's usually, closer family there. But I promise you it will eat up so much of your time. And think about your guests. They're just waiting in line. They're going to go through the line making these awkward, hi, congratulations. You look beautiful. Thank you. Oh, hug. On to the next person. It's just what it is. Yeah. So there's a couple of different options, right? Like I feel like you hear one of two things. Oh, we don't want to do a receiving line, but we also don't want to spend a whole bunch of time during dinner going around to every single table to table, right? Yeah.
So I like this hybrid one, and I think that we've talked about this before. Is that like there are certain people who kind of expect you to come up and say hi to them, and that's a little bit of the older generation, right? And then there's the people who you're going to see and catch up with on the dance floor or at the bar or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that's your friends, that's your cousins. Maybe that's
your
the uncle who's Yeah, exactly. So it's like, all right, you skip those tables, right? You skip the receiving line, you skip those going around to those tables of the young peeps, and you just hit up a couple of the tables of the people who you know are going to appreciate that. Your parents'
Your
tables,
godmother.
yeah, your godmother,
Right.
your grandparents, maybe some aunts and uncles, and now all of a sudden you've taken it from 10 tables or 20 tables or whatever down to like 4 or 5. And you can have a little bit more meaningful interaction with each of those people, and you can have a little more fun and meaningful interaction with all the people on the dance floor then, or at the bar or whatever it is, and just be a little silly,
Right.
rather than rushing.
Right. And we've also talked about like doing that and maybe also giving like a just nice, beautiful thank you speech to everybody there. There's ways around it. You can still be gracious hosts without doing this receiving line where everyone in your wedding party is standing in it. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Woo,
So that was
good job.
so
that was our 10 things your guests won't care about. Okay.
Yeah. All right, that was a lot of negative though. There's a lot of negative. So we need to throw some positive do's in there. Do-dos.
Yeah.
Do's.
So do you want to talk about the do-dos, the things we think are good, or do you want to talk about the thing that was in every article we found?
Yes. Let's do that
let's
first.
Okay, yeah. So as always, we do a lot of research, and we want to make sure that what we're sharing is like our opinion is important, but there's other opinions out there, and we just always like to make sure that things are as comprehensive as possible and as beneficial to you guys as possible. So one thing I especially in particular kept finding in every single like these are the things your guests won't care about was the first dance.
Totally disagree.
I was heartbroken to see that. I mean, Dan, you even mentioned it as we were talking, right? Your first dance, people are usually still very much in tune with it, right?
Yeah,
They're watching, they're engaged. It's this beautiful moment, right? And I mean, if you don't like to dance, okay, then maybe you don't need to include that, or it could be this really short and sweet thing.
Yep.
But I wholeheartedly disagreed with that one. I kept seeing it over and over again.
All right. So like I said, it's my job to literally watch people, to be a third party observer, to get in tune with like the energy of the wedding day, the energy of the people surrounding the couple. And I'll tell you, there's only one group of people who never watch the first dance, and that is the single mid to late 20s guys who are like the frat brothers of the groom. That's it. Like they're always
the ones
catching
that
up.
are. Let's
They're
just be
standing
blunt,
at
right?
the bar still.
They're there to find somebody to go have a good time with later that night.
Yes, 100%. They're catching up the table. They're the ones who are like being a little bit raucous, but everybody else is still way into the first dance. All of the aunts are still looking at it, thinking about their own wedding. The mom is like standing in the corner, just like, oh my God, there's my baby. Like everybody's still eating it up. Everybody still loves it. So if we wholeheartedly disagree that people that guests do not care about the first dance. 100% disagree with that.
Okay, so let's talk about some do's. Some
do's.
things that your guests will care about.
Okay.
So we can't say this enough, right? It's always coming back to thinking about your guest experience, right?
Yeah.
All guests, I would argue, care about food.
Yes, 100%.
Have you ever gone to a party and was like, I hope there's not any food there? Right?
Right.
At least snacks.
Yep. And I'll tell you, like, as being somebody who's a picky eater / well, I guess you'd say just a vegetarian, when I see something at a wedding that's like I know that there's like some veggie options. Let me put it this way. I've been to a wedding where there was like no veggie options, and it was a bummer, right? Like it comes with the territory. I get it. I know. And I'm not talking about working it. I'm talking about being a guest there, right? Like I bring my own food, generally speaking, when it comes to, working somewhere. But when it comes to being a guest somewhere and there's like good vegetarian options, good, like, things outside the box for people who might have some difficulty eating, that just speaks volumes to me, because it feels like they were thinking about me. Realistically, it could have just been one of the standard options on the wedding menu, but I love that when it's like, oh wow, there's something that I eat here. This is amazing. I love this. I'm going to eat this over and over and over and over and over again.
So yeah. All guests care about food. Many will care about drinks, and that comes in, depending on whether you want to do a top shelf drink or just keep it simple. But a lot of people care about that. Close second is definitely entertainment and comfort. That's what guests care about, guys. I'm telling you, we've beaten a dead horse with this at this point, but guests care about food, drink, comfort, and entertainment. You hit those four things, and again, you win.
Yeah, but go ahead. You're gonna say something?
No. Go ahead.
So entertainment would be things like a band, a DJ, a photo booth, I don't know, puzzles, games, whatever. Like I was at a wedding recently that I photographed, and they had these various quizzes and things throughout the night, and like the winner or the raffles got to do something with the couple. It was super fun.
That's so cool. I did one where every centerpiece in bunny ears was a board game. It was like a game that the guests at that table could play throughout the night. They did they brought in arcade games. Everything was just about fun. We didn't really do any dancing outside of like first dance stuff, but we just had a playlist playing just for background music, but everything was just about board games. It was so much fun. I love that. So yeah, entertainment. Think of it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a perfect example of like, not having to make somebody do something that they don't want to do, or that's like it's really about them, like, right? Like it's all about them and creating an experience for them.
Mm-hmm. That's what your guests care about is, do I have a full belly? Did I have a good time? Was I comfortable? Like, was I sitting in this like very uncomfortable chair? It was pretty, but man, was it uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, think about guest experience. It's just what it comes down to. And guys, everything that we talked about in this episode, we don't mean to knock it. And I guess maybe we sometimes get like a little bit silly or just like super honest with our opinions, but they are exactly that. They are our opinions. And if it's something that they mean a great deal to you, you ignore us completely and do it wholeheartedly and absolutely do it. Just don't do it because you're doing it just cause, you know what I mean? Or like, well, I don't know. I guess, every wedding I've been to has done a garter and bouquet toss. So I guess I got to do it too. Nope.
Right.
This is us giving you permission that you don't have to do that thing.
Right.
Do the things that bring you joy and bring your party to a level that your guests are going to appreciate and just have a great time,
Yep. Marie Kondo that.
Yeah, Marie Kondo that. Your wedding will be all the better for it if you do. We promise. So
love that.
Yeah.
Done.
All right. That was good. That's going to be